Not gonna lie, this week I had to officially switch to maternity jeans because the hair tie holding my pant button together was no longer cutting it. It's officially that stage of pregnancy. Well, now that that's out in the open, let's start this podcast. Not gonna lie, the other night my husband called my name because our youngest daughter was wearing nothing but a pair of rain boots, and she did it all by herself. That's my girl. All right, episode 2. Let's do it. Not gonna lie, I just did a photo shoot before this, and I keep getting asked if I have a preferred side. Do people actually have a preferred side? I'm so confused by this. Whatever, let's record a podcast. Not gonna lie, I've hit the time in pregnancy where your body starts sleep training you. I have been up between the hours of 2 and 4 for the last 2 weeks. I'm running on nothing. I'm on E, guys. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Let's get this podcast started. I'm not going to lie. We're a little under the weather in our house this week, as you can tell. But that should explain why I have boogers on my shirt right now. They're clearly not mine. Let's get this podcast started. Not going to lie, I tried to discourage my children from drinking their bathwater by calling it butt soup. And I'm going to keep doing that because it kind of seems to be working. Let's get this podcast started. Not going to lie, that Eagles game shaved years off of my life. I have at least 4 new gray hairs. At least. Whew, let's get into this podcast. Not going to lie, when I got into studio today, I was delighted to find a present on my desk from Kayla. It's a block of wood. Specifically, has the sports superstition definition on it, an irrational belief that a specific action or behavior will lead to a positive or negative outcome in a game. It also has a little spot to knock here. Guys, we don't have to hunt down any more wooden spoons. We have it right on the desk. She's beautiful. Now let's do this podcast. Not gonna lie, I swear my kids are having meetings that I don't know about to figure out who's going to wake me up at night and how many times, just to make sure that my sleep is interrupted. Let's start this podcast. Not gonna lie, Valentine's Day, I could do without, but the 15th of February, give me all the sale chocolate. Let's get started on this podcast. Not gonna lie, today I was holding my nephew and Benny came over and said, "Put it down." So I'm really excited about giving her another sibling. Let's start this podcast. Not gonna lie, Benny's birthday was this past weekend, and when she tried to blow out her candles, she only kept blowing her bangs. She kept going. I got a large piece of paper, asked her to try again, and quickly waved the piece of paper to blow out the candles. Good news is, after that happened, she said, "I did it," to Jason. So, nailed it. Let's get this podcast started. I'm not gonna lie. I have warned just about everyone I've spoken to that if I sound like I'm running a marathon, it's because my child's butt is so far into my lungs that I can't inflate them fully. The miracle of life. Let's start this podcast. Brownie! Not gonna lie, you might hear barking during this episode. That's Brownie and Duke. And they are visiting. And I love it. Let's get this episode started. I'm not gonna lie. This sweatshirt is a 3X. Team issued to my husband. Why? Well, because nothing else fits. So, let's get this podcast started. Not gonna lie, we record these cold opens at the end of the episode record, so I'm still sweating from today's Can I Be Honest? Let's get this podcast started so you can figure out what the heck I said. Not gonna lie, I just had my baby 2 days ago. Literally 2 days ago. And she's here for her first episode of Not Gonna Lie. Look at that. Ta-da! That was good. Let's get this show started. Not gonna lie, in preparation for this episode, I was watching the new Bert Kreischer special, Lucky, on Netflix, and I had to finish watching it from the toilet so I didn't pee my pants. And that is on laughing too hard and being 39 weeks pregnant. Let's get this podcast started. I'm not gonna lie, we recorded this episode when I was 38 weeks pregnant, so girl, you good? How'd birth go? Did she come out easy? I don't have the answer. I'm still 38 weeks pregnant. Let's get this podcast started.